Okay, so hi, I'm Anna for the MBP Podcast Committee. I'm here with Bonnie. Bonnie, if you'd be able to introduce yourself.
Sure, I'm Bonnie Kuehl, and I graduated from MBP a few years ago. When I graduated, we were still over at the original Princess Margaret over on Sherburne Street, so that's my few years ago.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us here for Alumni Night. And we were wondering if you could give us some information or some insight into what you've learned in your PhD that you've been able to use in your career now.
Great. So I think one thing I didn't know I learned in my PhD, and again, it's something that we have no idea that it's happened, but during the process of doing your PhD or your master's, we invariably learn to think differently. And it's nothing that you are aware that's happening, but it's analyzing and considering all of the various pieces of information. It's working through, why did an experiment fail? Why did an experiment work? Where am I going next with this? In collating and analyzing all of the data as you're working through your PhD, your brain starts to create new neural networks, I guess, and you take that ability to think about things differently and to analyze things differently and to ask different kinds of questions. And I found I've taken that through all of the different aspects of my life moving forward. And I see it in every PhD that I meet. It's very interesting. And again, if math people with master's degrees, same idea. We learn to think differently, and I think we've just kind of created new neural networks that allow us to see things in a different light.
Cool, great. And so for graduates of MBP, they're soon to be graduates, what kind of things can they come to expect, or what would be the biggest piece of advice you can give them from transitioning from grad school to the next thing, whether it's academia or in industry?
Yeah. Life's about exploring. And when you finish one part of your career, you're looking to wind down one part of your career, I think you always have to look for the open doors and the paths that are available to you. And you should tip your toe in the water or check out, do I like this? Is it where I want to go? Maybe not today. Maybe in the future you might end up going there. I'm going to go down this path for now. I'm going to explore over here. And so what I really encourage people as you're finishing your PhD, as you're moving forward, is to explore possibilities. You might end up doing something for a year, 2 years, decide you don't love it. But hey, I'm going to go back over and check out that thing that I saw or I read or I heard about. And especially when you're in your 20s and into your early 30s, it's about exploring. It's about investigating, and it's about figuring out what is it, that thing that you like. Or maybe you like it for 5 years and then you go like, okay, I'm done with this and I'm going to check out something else. But always have that exit strategy, always have that plan in place, and kind of work to your plan and figure out where that next door is open.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, what's a good memory that you've had with your PhD study?
So I was lucky when I did my PhD that molecular biophysics was the physicists and the biologists all in the same building. And so that was a really unique opportunity to form a really close bonds. And so some of the physicists and I still have great relationships. And I was doing a project a few months ago and I needed some ultrasound expertise. So I tapped my buddy Michael, who now works at Ryerson, on the shoulder and said, hey, Mr. Ultrasound expert, I need some help. And X number of years later, I won't tell you how many, I was able to go to his lab at Ryerson and have a conversation and kind of learn where ultrasound has emerged to in the ensuing years. So again, it's building those relationships and tap your buddies on the shoulder years into the future. Lean back on them, ask them questions. They're only going to be grateful to have a conversation with you.
All right, well, thank you for joining us, Bonnie. Thank you for stopping by, and thanks for all the advice.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Thanks.